Have you been walking into a room lately and suddenly forgetting why you went there? Are names, conversations, or simple daily tasks becoming harder to remember than they used to be? Many people assume this only happens because of aging. But in many cases, there is something much quieter happening behind the scenes. Your brain may no longer be getting the support it needs before bedtime. And today, I want to show you how certain nighttime foods may become powerful allies for supporting memory, mental clarity, and overall brain health while you sleep. Because yes, your brain keeps working all night long. Even while your body rests, your mind stays incredibly active. Memories are organized, neural connections are strengthened, and your brain decides which information to keep and which to discard. And during that process, what you eat before going to bed may influence your brain far more than most people realize. Most older adults never hear this. They are told that forgetfulness is simply normal, an unavoidable part of getting older. But after many years working with patients, I've seen something very different. I'm Dr. Gabriel Mena, and for more than 15 years I've worked with men and women over 60 who became deeply concerned because their minds no longer felt as sharp as before. People who forgot important appointments, repeated stories without realizing it, or suddenly lost words in the middle of conversations. And in many of those cases, age itself was not the only issue. Daily habits were silently weakening the brain's nighttime recovery process without them even noticing. I remember Ricardo, a 68-year-old patient who told me something you may have experienced yourself. He became worried the day he forgot his granddaughter's birthday. He couldn't understand what was happening. He slept poorly, ate random late-night meals, and often went to bed without giving his body any real nutrition. Little by little, we began making simple changes to his evening routine, especially the foods he ate before bed. A few weeks later, he told me something I will never forget. "Doctor, it feels like my mind woke up again." That experience made me pay even closer attention to this topic. Because the aging brain has different needs. After age 60, certain substances connected to memory naturally begin to decline. One of the most important is acetylcholine, a neurotransmitter deeply involved in forming and retrieving memories. Imagine your memory as a giant filing cabinet. When the brain works efficiently, you can quickly open the right drawer and instantly find a name, a date, or a memory. But when these important substances begin to decrease, those drawers start sticking. Some open more slowly. Others seem empty even though the information is still there. Research on brain aging has shown that between ages 60 and 75, the brain's ability to manage memory-related processes may decline significantly when it lacks proper support through sleep, nutrition, and healthy habits. And here is something very few people truly understand. The most important moment for memory happens while you sleep. During the night, your brain sorts through everything you experience during the day. It decides what information to store, which neural connections to strengthen, and which memories deserve to last longer. It's almost like an invisible repair team quietly working while you rest. That's why what you eat before bed is not just a late-night craving. It's an opportunity to provide your brain with tools for overnight restoration. The problem is that many people do exactly the opposite. They consume ultra-processed foods, too much sugar, heavy dinners, or they simply go to bed without giving their brain the nutrients it needs to function properly overnight. And tonight, I want to help you change that. I'm going to share 7 foods that many older adults are now including before bedtime to naturally support memory, concentration, and cognitive health. Some are simple, affordable, and easy to find. But researchers have become increasingly interested in them because of their connection to important brain functions. And stay with me until the end, because the last food on this list surprised even brain health specialists after the results observed in older adults. So let's begin. Number 7. Pumpkin seeds. They're tiny, simple, and often overlooked. But inside those small seeds are essential minerals that the brain depends on. Pumpkin seeds contain magnesium, zinc, iron, and copper, nutrients involved in communication between neurons, nervous system balance, and normal memory processes. But magnesium is the real star here. Magnesium plays a key role in learning mechanisms and memory consolidation inside the brain. When magnesium levels are low, many people experience mental fatigue, poor concentration, and difficulty processing new information. Several studies involving older adults found that individuals with healthier magnesium levels tended to perform better on memory and cognitive tests. That's why a small portion of pumpkin seeds before bed may become valuable support for your brain overnight. My recommendation is simple: eat them raw or lightly roasted, without excessive salt or added oils. And there's one important detail almost nobody talks about. Chew them slowly. When you chew slowly, enzymes in your saliva begin helping your body absorb certain minerals more effectively. And beyond that, slow chewing itself encourages relaxation before sleep. Now let's move to number 6, walnuts. Interestingly, walnuts look remarkably similar to the human brain. And while that may sound like a funny coincidence, their nutritional profile has attracted serious attention in brain health research. Walnuts are one of the best plant-based sources of omega-3 fats, especially alpha-linolenic acid. These healthy fats help support the structure and function of neurons. And here's something important to understand: a large portion of the brain is made of healthy fats. But as we age, some of those essential components gradually decline. Scientific studies have found that people who regularly consume walnuts often show better indicators related to memory, focus, and cognitive performance. Walnuts also contain antioxidants and plant compounds that help fight oxidative stress, a process strongly linked to cellular aging. A small handful of walnuts before bed may provide nutrients your brain uses during its nighttime maintenance and repair cycle. And here's a tip that almost nobody mentions. Don't remove the thin brown skin inside the walnut. Many people peel it away because it tastes slightly bitter. But that layer contains a large concentration of beneficial antioxidants. That stronger flavor is actually part of what makes walnuts so valuable. Now we arrive at number 5, tart cherries. And honestly, this may be one of the most underrated foods when it comes to sleep and memory support. Unlike regular sweet cherries, tart cherries naturally contain compounds associated with melatonin production. Most people think melatonin only helps with sleep. But recent research has also explored its connection to cellular protection and brain function. At night, your brain must protect itself against oxidative stress accumulated during the day. Certain antioxidants found in tart cherries may help support that balance. Some studies involving older adults observed interesting improvements in areas related to episodic memory and cognitive wellness after tart cherries were incorporated consistently into healthy routines. If you'd like to try them, a small serving of dried tart cherries before bed may be a practical option. You can also drink tart cherry juice in moderation, as long as it doesn't contain excessive added sugar. And now I want to ask you something. Have you noticed lately that your memory doesn't feel as sharp as it used to? Have you forgotten words, appointments, or small important details more often? If that sounds familiar, type the word memory in the comments. I'd love to hear from you and see how many people are experiencing this. And if this video is helping you, subscribe right now and turn on notifications, because the next foods on this list are even more surprising when it comes to supporting your brain during sleep. Number 4, almonds. Most people think of almonds as just a healthy snack. But very few understand why they attract so much attention in studies related to brain aging and memory. Almonds contain vitamin E, one of the most researched antioxidants in neurological health. And this matters because the brain goes through intense cleaning and repair processes during sleep. While you sleep, your body activates mechanisms that help clear waste products accumulated during the day. Some researchers compare this process to a kind of overnight brain cleansing. And although this process is beneficial, it also creates temporary oxidative stress. That's where vitamin E becomes important. Vitamin E helps protect neuron membranes against oxidative damage associated with aging. Research involving older adults has found that people with healthier vitamin E levels often maintain stronger cognitive function over time. That's why a small handful of natural almonds before bed may become part of a beneficial nighttime brain routine. But here's an interesting trick. Ideally, soak them for several hours before eating them. Many people find them easier to digest that way, and some specialists believe soaking may improve the availability of certain nutrients. My practical recommendation is simple: eat 8 to 10 natural almonds, preferably soaked and without excess salt. And I want to share something that deeply stayed with me. A few months ago, I treated Patricia, a 71-year-old retired teacher. She came into my office extremely distressed because she had started forgetting things she had never forgotten in her life. Nearly in tears, she admitted that she had forgotten her daughter's birthday. And that terrified her. She looked at me and said, "Dr. Gabriel, I feel like I'm fading away." We began working on small nighttime changes. Nothing extreme. Nothing complicated. We improved her sleep habits, reduced inflammatory foods at night, and introduced some of the foods I'm sharing with you today, including almonds. 3 weeks later, she returned much calmer. I remember perfectly when she told me, "Doctor, I'm remembering full conversations again without struggling." But what touched me most was hearing her family say she seemed more present, more connected, and more confident again. And I want you to understand something important. This is not about miracles. It's about giving the brain better conditions to do its job. Now let's move to number 3. And this one surprises many people. Dark chocolate with a high cacao content. But be careful. I'm not talking about ultra-processed chocolate packed with sugar and unhealthy fats. I'm talking about dark chocolate with at least 70% cacao. Cacao contains natural flavonoids, especially one called epicatechin, which has been widely studied for its relationship to blood flow in the brain and cognitive performance. Some research suggests these compounds may support processes connected to neuroplasticity and the hippocampus, a key brain region responsible for memory. The hippocampus plays a critical role in forming new memories. And unfortunately, it's also one of the areas most affected by aging, stress, and poor sleep. Studies involving flavonoid-rich cacao have shown promising improvements in memory and mental sharpness among older adults when consumed moderately as part of a balanced diet. The key is quality and moderation. A small serving of dark chocolate before bed may be enough. You don't need large amounts. And there's another detail almost nobody mentions. Chew it slowly. When you eat slowly, you not only enjoy the food more, you also activate relaxation signals in the nervous system that help prepare the body for sleep. And try not to combine it with large amounts of milk. Some researchers believe certain milk proteins may partially interfere with the absorption of cacao antioxidants. Sometimes, the smallest details make the biggest difference. And if this video has helped you so far, remember to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Every week we share practical, easy-to-understand information to help you protect your memory, energy, and overall health after 60. And think about someone who may need to hear this today. Maybe a sibling, a close friend, or even your parents. Sharing this information may help more than you realize. Now we arrive at number 2, kiwi. And honestly, when I started researching this topic more deeply, kiwi was one of the foods that surprised me the most. Kiwi is incredibly nutrient-dense. It contains vitamin C, folate, and compounds connected to serotonin production. And this is extremely important for memory. Serotonin doesn't only influence mood. It also plays an indirect role in sleep quality and deep rest. When someone consistently sleeps poorly, the brain struggles to consolidate memories and organize new information efficiently. That's why people with poor sleep often experience brain fog, forgetfulness, and concentration problems. Some studies involving older adults observed that people who ate kiwi at night fell asleep faster and experienced better sleep quality overall. And remember this, better sleep often means a more efficient brain the next day. The practical recommendation is to eat 1 or 2 ripe kiwis about an hour before bed. And once again, there's an important detail. Don't blend them. Slow chewing is part of the benefit. The act of chewing activates the parasympathetic nervous system, the system responsible for helping the body relax and prepare for rest. In other words, it's not only about what you eat. It's also about how you eat it. And now I want to ask you something honestly. Have you ever tried eating a specific food before bed to help your memory or improve your sleep? If you have, type yes in the comments. If you never considered it before, type no. Reading other people's experiences helps many viewers realize they're not alone. And finally, we arrive at the number 1 food. The one that creates the most questions, the most surprise, and one of the most researched foods when it comes to natural compounds associated with cellular protection. Raw garlic. Yes, I already know what you're probably thinking right now. But stay with me a little longer, because what science has discovered about garlic compounds is truly fascinating. When you chew raw garlic, a substance called allicin forms. And this compound has been studied for years because of its potential connection to antioxidant and protective mechanisms inside the body. Researchers have explored how sulfur compounds in garlic may contribute to cellular defense, inflammation regulation, and protection of brain tissue against oxidative stress. And here's the most interesting part. Garlic must be crushed or chewed to activate those compounds. When garlic is cooked excessively, some of these natural mechanisms become significantly weaker. And when garlic is swallowed whole, the body often cannot utilize it as effectively. That's why people who include garlic in nighttime routines usually consume one small raw clove, thoroughly chewed a few minutes before bed. Some people follow it with a little honey to soften the strong taste. And if raw garlic feels too intense for you, there are ways to make it easier without completely abandoning the habit. Some people pair it with a small piece of dark chocolate, like the one we mentioned earlier, or a teaspoon of natural honey. Others finely chop it and mix it into plain yogurt or a few drops of olive oil. But I want to emphasize something important. Chewing it slowly is still essential. The crushing action inside the mouth helps activate compounds that simply do not form the same way when garlic is swallowed whole or overcooked. And I want to share another story I'll never forget. Some time ago, I met James, a 78-year-old retired engineer. He was one of those brilliant people who had spent decades solving complex problems effortlessly. His family admired him for his sharp memory and quick thinking. But one day, something happened that deeply shook him. He got lost driving home from his son's house, a route he had driven for years. When he arrived at my office, he was devastated. His wife sat beside him holding his hand tightly. And I remember perfectly when he told me, "Dr. Gabriel, I'm scared of what's happening to me." What hurt him most was that someone had already told him he simply needed to accept it as aging. But I wasn't willing to settle for that answer. We started building a very consistent nighttime routine. We improved his sleep schedule, removed certain harmful evening habits, and gradually introduced several of the foods you've learned about today. But I was especially persistent about raw garlic. I asked him to stay disciplined for several weeks. One small garlic clove, slowly chewed before bed, combined with a calmer and more intentional nighttime routine. 6 weeks later, he returned. And the moment he walked into my office, I noticed something different. His expression had changed. He looked more confident, more connected. He sat down in front of me and said something very simple, yet incredibly powerful. "Doctor, I don't feel that constant brain fog anymore." His wife added that she noticed him finishing sentences again, participating in conversations more naturally, and reacting more quickly. And I want you to understand something important. This wasn't magic. It wasn't a miracle cure. It was consistency, proper rest, and giving the brain better tools to support its natural function. And that's something you can begin doing tonight. Now I want to leave you with a simple and practical action plan. About an hour before bed, eat 1 or 2 ripe kiwis and chew them slowly. Then, about 30 minutes before sleep, add 1 small raw garlic clove, thoroughly chewed. If the flavor feels too intense, pair it with a small serving of dark chocolate with a high cacao percentage. During the day or at night, you can also include small amounts of walnuts, soaked almonds, pumpkin seeds, and dried tart cherries. You do not need to do everything perfectly from day one. Consistency matters most. Many people first notice something simple: they sleep more deeply. Or they wake up feeling mentally clearer. Then, over time, small daily improvements begin appearing. Remembering names more easily. Feeling more present during conversations. Experiencing less mental fog. And here are a few important warnings. First, don't cook the garlic if your goal is to benefit from these specific natural compounds. Excessive heat may weaken some of its properties. Second, don't skip the chewing process. Eating too quickly reduces part of the digestive and nervous system relaxation benefits. Third, don't expect instant overnight results. The brain needs repetition, rest, and consistency. Just like physical exercise, the benefits build over time. And fourth, Avoid ending your nights with too much alcohol, refined sugar, or ultra-processed foods. Research has linked these habits to inflammation, poorer sleep quality, and greater long-term cognitive decline. But there's something even more important I want to tell you today. Your brain is not doomed. Many older adults become frightened when forgetfulness begins. They believe nothing can be done. That memory loss is an unavoidable sentence. And while aging does bring natural changes, the brain still maintains an incredible ability to adapt and recover when given better support. Your body wants to function well. Your brain wants to keep learning, remembering, and connecting with the people you love. It simply needs the right support. That's why today we explored 7 foods that may become valuable allies within a healthy nighttime routine to support memory and cognitive wellness. Pumpkin seeds for their brain-supporting minerals. Walnuts for healthy fats and antioxidants. Tart cherries for sleep and cellular protection. Almonds for vitamin E. Dark chocolate rich in cacao for flavonoids. Kiwi for sleep quality and serotonin support. And raw garlic for its widely researched natural protective compounds. Each food offers something different, but together, they create a simple, practical nighttime routine that's easy to incorporate gradually. And I want to challenge you. Try this for 30 days. Not to chase perfection. Not to become obsessed. Simply to observe yourself. Keep a notebook beside your bed and write down one small thing you notice every morning. Maybe you remembered a name faster. Maybe you slept more deeply. Maybe you felt more mentally present during a conversation. Over time, those small changes may become a remarkable transformation. I also remember Margaret, a 68-year-old woman who loved reading. After several weeks following these habits, she called me excited because she attended a family gathering and perfectly remembered names and conversations she normally would have forgotten. Laughing, she told me something beautiful. "Dr. Gabriel, I feel like my mind is with me again." And that sentence stayed with me. Because in the end, the hardest part about memory problems is not forgetting a word. It's feeling like you slowly stop recognizing yourself. So let me ask you something simple. If this video helped you, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. Every single day we share practical, easy-to-understand health information designed to help you protect your memory, energy, and well-being after 60. And please share this video with someone who needs it. Many people are going through these changes silently, feeling afraid or embarrassed, believing there's nothing they can do. Sometimes simple information arrives at exactly the right moment. And now I'd love to hear from you. Which of these foods are you going to start adding to your nighttime routine first? Write it in the comments. I truly enjoy reading your experiences because one story may inspire another person who needs hope today. And before we finish, I want to invite you to do something special. Thank God for life. For every new day. For the opportunity to keep learning, caring for your body, and improving your habits and your health. As long as there is life, there is always an opportunity for positive change. Here on Dr. Gabriel Mena's channel, it brings us great joy to walk beside you on that journey. Thank you for allowing us into your home and for trusting us with information created especially to help you live this stage of life with greater clarity, energy, and well-being. And remember something important. Tomorrow we'll have a brand new video filled with practical advice to help you feel healthier and stronger every day. Here, you will always find caring, useful, and easy-to-understand content made for you and your family. I'll see you in the next video. Take good care of yourself.